What's up, guys? Welcome back to Sports Talk with Chinn. Today we have, as always, Chinn again here. We have replays and myself. We're going to jump right into these topics today. We got a lot of stuff to discuss, so let's jump right into the NFC here. We're going to have a discussion over, if your opinion here, do you think that this NFC number one seed race is only between the Lions and the Eagles, or is there any other contenders that could pop out of the woodworks here and take over? We're going to start with you, Chinn, if you want to go ahead and give us your take on it.
I don't think so. I mean, both the Vikings and the Packers are both looking really good this season. The problem is, of those top four teams in the NFC, the Eagles, well, none of these teams really have a easy schedule down the stretch, but if you had to pick one with the easiest schedule, it'd have to be the Eagles. The Eagles still play both the Panthers and the Giants, so their schedule is significantly easier than the rest of the teams. The Packers still play the Vikings again. The Lions play both the Packers and Vikings. So, I mean, all four of these teams have a very tough schedule. So, the Lions, they still have a chance to not even win their division. Same with the Eagles. So, it's tough to just say these are the two best teams in the league whenever they still don't even have their division locked up yet. But they are both looking very good right now. The Eagles have an impressive win over the Commanders. The Lions have several impressive wins this season. They just smacked the Jaguars around last week. So I'm liking both teams. I do think that they're the top two teams in the NFC. And I think this right here will potentially be the NFC Championship matchup. But it's a matter of where they're going to be seated. Like, the Lions could fall as low as like 3, in my opinion, and the Eagles could fall as low as like 5 or something. So you never know. But I do think both these teams will meet in the NFC Championship.
All right, replays?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with the playoffs. I think these two will meet in the NFC Championship. And I'm going to have to slightly disagree with the two-team race. I do think this is a two-team race between the Eagles and Lions. Because if you think about it, the question's really saying, is it a two-team race for the first seed? And I think no other team can really get that first seed besides the Eagles and Lions. So I have to slightly disagree, but I do agree. I definitely think those two will meet in the NFC Championship. The Eagles do have a really easy schedule. The Lions do have an easy schedule this week, but I think that this is a two-team race for the one seed.
All righty. Let's jump over here to a Giants question, some team that I never thought we'd be talking about right now. With the benching here of Daniel Jones and them going back to Tommy DeVito, what is the game plan here? What do you all think they should do, and what do you all think they're going to do? If replays would like to start us out here?
Yeah, it is Tommy DeVito, but yes, I think the Giants already won their off season by benching Daniel Jones this week because in his contract he actually has 0 guaranteed money left unless he gets injured. So I think that Giants already recovered for next year. They can tank for the first overall pick. And right now I think they're ranked at 2nd or 3rd for the first round pick. So yeah, I think they can tank this season and get a good quarterback in the draft.
All right, Chinn?
He did say Danny DeVito, right? The actor Danny.
He did.
That's
did
what,
say Danny DeVito.
I was like, Danny DeVito. Wow.
Danny DeVito.
Same person, different sport. It's fine.
Yeah, I think the Giants need to. Me personally, Brian Daboll is going to get fired at some point. They might hold off and wait till the end of the season to do it, but there will be a new head coach in New York next year. I personally like Brian Daboll. I think that he done the best with the pieces he had. The one person they really do need to fire in the Giants organization is the GM. I can't think of his name, but they do need to terminate him. After in Hard Knocks, if you watched Hard Knocks, he literally said nobody was going to give Saquon more than $10 million a year, and he looks like the biggest idiot ever. And instead, he goes, and John Mara, the owner of the Giants, even said if he goes to the Eagles, he's going to be sick. Sure enough, what does Saquon do? He goes to the Eagles. The Giants paid the wrong player years ago. They should have paid Saquon, should have never paid Daniel Jones that contract. Good news is they get out of it this year. This is a smart move by them because the only way they owe Daniel Jones any money is if he gets injured. So bench him, cut him after the season. You got out of that contract. Good job, Giants. You're going to get a new head coach. Hopefully, you get a new GM. And you tank for Sanders, Shadur Sanders. It's pretty simple. I mean, that defense is kind of actually decent for the Giants. Malik Neighbors looks like he's going to be a superstar in this league. They got some problems at the offensive line. I do think they need another offensive weapon to shadow Malik Neighbors. But their biggest problem is their quarterback. They do need a running back too, but their biggest downfall is quarterback. So, yeah, tank for Shadur Sanders. You're going to fire your GM, hopefully. You're going to get a new head coach. Unfortunate for Brian Dabo because I don't really think that this season is his fault. But that's just the writing on the wall. As far as Tommy DeVito, I think it's like the perfect move for the Giants. Because think about it. You can still keep your fan base interested with the Tommy DeVito memes and all that stuff. But you're not really trying to win games the rest of the season. You more or less want to lose out.
Yeah. Before we go to the next topic, I just want to say, I think the Giants' young talent could be close to one of the best in the league right now. If you look at it on a roster point, I really like their new running back, Tyrone Tracy. Wandale Robinson looks really good. And obviously Malik Neighbors is really good. So I'd say they're set for the future. They just need that quarterback. And I think they also do need maybe a couple defensive pieces. But this roster could have potential next offseason to be pretty good.
All right. Any follow-ups from you, Chinn?
Nothing.
All right. Let's switch over here and talk about some greatness now. Who do you all have at this current week right now? Who do you all have as your front runner for MVP? Replays, if you'd like to start us off.
Okay, so now I'd say there's about 3 people that could be contenders. One of them being Lamar Jackson. He had a couple bad weeks, but he's still ranked number 1 quarterback for QBR. Number 2, Josh Allen. He's played really good football throughout the season. He just had
Lamar
really
Jackson's
big
number 2 in quarterback rating, by the way, not number 1.
Flashback.
I mean, 8 interceptions and 21 sacks. And I think they're ranked 11th defense. And honestly, I really think this team is winning this division.
The Rams?
49ers. 49ers are obviously the favorites.
The Rams are 11th in defense?
Yeah.
Let me fact check that. Who didn't start the fire? It was Replay's notes.
End of flashback.
Josh Allen, he's played really good this season. He's balled out. He just got a really big one against the Chiefs this week. And yeah, I think he could be another contender. But my personal pick for MVP this year is Jalen Hurts. This man, let's start with his stats real quick. This has been his best season by far throughout his years as a starter. He has thrown 2,197 passing yards. He has 12 passing touchdowns and 11 rushing touchdowns. In total, that's 22 touchdowns in total. He has 5 interceptions, which is the league bottom half low. His QBR is 62.4, which is the 6th best quarterback in the league. When you have that running back like Saquon Barkley taking the show and you still have those numbers, I think that's crazy. The Eagles are 5th in total offense, which is outstanding for an Eagles fan. And if you look at other teams, I mean, the only one that's above them is Lamar Jackson's offense. If you look at the Bills, they're 11th. I don't think Josh Allen is close to Jalen Hurts on an offensive standpoint, but that's for others to beg to differ. And here's a cool stat for you. Jalen Hurts is one of 5 quarterbacks to have 20 passing touchdowns, 10 rushing touchdowns in a season. This season, he's on pace to crush that record, actually be to have the most passing and rushing touchdowns to beat his previous record. So that would be his 2nd time doing this record, which is pretty cool. He is also on a 6-game winning streak, only lost once with A.J. Brown starting. And I think that this quarterback, Jalen Hurts, my glorious king, is the front runner for NFL MVP.
All right, then. Well, I wasn't expecting to hear that, but Chinn, what's your take on this? Who do you got?
So first, I want to apologize for interrupting you. You was actually correct, Lamar. I was looking at the stat wrong. I thought Jared Goff had overtaken Lamar Jackson. I seen the stat and I thought it said 122. It says 112.2 for Jared Goff. Lamar Jackson is 117, so you're actually right. Yeah. But I do agree with you right now. I don't agree with you as far as what my dog is doing right now, but but. Anyways, I think right now it is unanimous Lamar Jackson at this point in the NFL because my dog is distracting me right now. Anyways, I do think it's unanimous right now, Lamar Jackson. I think that Jalen Hurts is I do think Jalen Hurts is having a good season. I think he's kind of like silent on the list. I don't think he's mentioned. I think Jared Goff, you got to include Jared Goff in the conversation. He did have that 5-interception game last week, or the previous week, that did hurt him. But obviously he's not going to do that again the rest of the season, or at least you hope not. But here's something interesting. This person is not going to win MVP, but mainly because he's on a terrible team. But I honestly think this person should be the MVP right now. And this is a hot take. Joe Burrow. He has over 3,000 passing yards, the only quarterback in the NFL that has that. He has 27 touchdowns, leads the NFL to only 4 interceptions. That's incredible. And you ask what the Bengals ask him to do each and every week. It's like they've lost so many close one-score games just because of bull crap. All because that defense is terrible. All because that defense, think about it, he lost to the Ravens by 1 point. He lost to the Ravens another time by 2 points. He just lost to the Chargers last week because his kicker missed 2 field goals in crunch time. And he still somehow comes out there at the end of the game, puts a drive together, gets his team the lead or gets them in the game just so his defense can fold again and again and again. He's posting a 108 quarterback rating, which is 4th in the NFL. So, like I said, he leads the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns. If the Bengals were, let's just say, 6-4, the Bengals were 6-4, everybody'd be talking about Joe Burrow carrying this team and being an MVP considerator right now. The problem is the Bengals are just terrible. But Joe Burrow is still going out there each and every week and putting up MVP-like numbers week after week. Over his last 2 games, Joe Burrow has thrown 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 700 yards in 2 games and has lost both games. You cannot tell me that's not MVP numbers the last 2 games. I get it. He's not going to get MVP just because he's on such a terrible team. It's too many times in the NFL, we give the MVP to the best player on the best team. It shouldn't be that way. It should be the league's overall best player. And because the Bengals are so bad, Joe Burrow is going to completely get overshadowed on this. But if you look at the stats and you look at the numbers and you look at what he actually does for this team each and every week, he is by far the best player in the league right now.
Okay.
I want to go off that real quick.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm going to go off that real quick. I want to say this is also a pretty corrupt system because, as you've seen in the NFL rankings, winning, you need to win MVP, which in Joe Burrow's case, he has been MVP. If he had a Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen record right now, he would be the MVP. But I feel like the NFL MVP is kind of corrupt. Running backs never win, even though like last year, Christian McCaffrey, I think maybe he could have won that. Running backs never win. Wide receivers never win. Any defensive player never wins. I mean, Bland last year too. He beat all these records as a rookie. He didn't even get MVP on the list. I mean, it's kind of corrupt. I mean, only quarterbacks win. I get they're the main player on the team. They win you games. They run the offense. I feel like other positions kind of get robbed. I mean, like Saquon Barkley this year is having a career year. Derrick Henry's having a career year. They're not even like top 5 MVP right now. Like, I don't know. I feel like the system is a little corrupt in a way. But I mean, they're not going to listen to me. But I feel like as NFL fans, we should maybe try to change that.
All right. We moving on here?
Yeah, I'm good.
Everybody ready? All right, so let's talk about some coaches, all right? Who do you all think is the next out the door, and why haven't we seen it already? Chinn, if you would like to start us off on this one.
Yeah, so there's a couple that come to mind for why they haven't moved yet. Mike McCarthy, I'm surprised that Dallas hasn't made a change with him yet. Jerry Jones has doubled down and said several times he's not going to make a coaching change till the end of the season. I think that's coming sooner than later, especially after last week's collapse. And the problem is like, they played halfway decent. How did you only get 10 points? CeeDee Lamb got involved early and often. How does your offense still only manage 10 points? So it almost seems to me like Mike McCarthy's lost this team. In my personal opinion, Mike McCarthy's not the problem with this team, though. He's going to take the fall, though. It's really Jerry Jones is the problem with the Cowboys. Brian Daboll, this seems like the Giants are making changes, though. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Giants do move off of Brian Daboll first. Another name to throw out there, Brian Callahan for the Tennessee Titans. They're not looking very good. He doesn't know who to even start at quarterback, so he seems kind of lost. So that one there could be a next one to fall. Kevin Stefanski for the Browns. It's kind of like a coin flip of who's going to be the first to go. And I think once the first one goes, I think it's going to start a landslide, and there's going to be several go. But the coaches I see to be fired before the season is over, Mike McCarthy, Brian Daboll, and Brian Callahan of the Titans. I see all three of them getting terminated before the season's end.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be like a domino effect. Once one goes, the rest will. But
Doug Peterson, too.
Okay.
I forgot to mention him.
Replays, what you got?
All right. So I've seen a couple of rumors in the past week and a half. But I've seen a couple names. I agree with all three of the names you said. And Doug Peterson, this is the weird thing with him. I think that he is the best candidate to go. I don't think the Jaguars are going to get rid of him to the end of the year. He's been playing terrible as a coach. He's been performing terrible as a coach. And he's not developing his quarterback very well. And Mac Jones is starting games. I mean, he's a lost cause, but this is my opinion. I think Antonio Pierce on the Raiders, I think he has the best chance to go first for the reason being Mike Vrabel, the Titans' old coach. He is a really good coach, and he is heavily rumored to go to the Raiders to replace Antonio Pierce. So I think that Antonio Pierce on the Raiders, he will be the first to go. And I agree on Cowboys because I think that Mike McCarthy has done a pretty bad job, but I don't think he's to blame. I think Jerry Jones shouldn't have hired him in the first place. No offense to Mike McCarthy, but Jerry Jones, he hires quarterbacks that are puppets, and Mike McCarthy is the perfect example of a puppet. And I think he fell into a trap going to the Cowboys. I think he's a very decent coach, and I think if he went to a team like the Titans, he could really do well with developing a young quarterback. And I think that he has gotten into a bad situation over in the Cowboys. And I think that he will be a domino effect with Tennessee and Las Vegas Raiders.
All right. So, let's talk here about one of Week 11's biggest highlight moments. The Bills defeated the undefeated Chiefs here. Do you all think this game is going to propel Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills higher up and give them what they have been lacking all this time? Or is this just another game on the roster like Josh Allen has said? Replays, if you'd like to start us off.
Yeah, I'd love to start this off because I'm not a big Chiefs fan. I'm not a big Bills fan. There's one thing I know. Patrick Mahomes is great in playoffs. And you said Josh Allen getting over that hump. I mean, you've seen it last year. You've seen it the year before. You've seen it the 2 years before the year before. Josh Allen beats Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, especially last year. Same storyline's going to go on. Josh Allen will get the first seed with home field advantage. Patrick Mahomes will meet Josh Allen in the playoffs. Josh Allen will be on his knees and losing the game to Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Inevitable. I feel like it's inevitable. Patrick Mahomes has played terrible this year. He's a playoff quarterback. He don't lose games. The only real quarterback that's beat him is Tom Brady, the best of all time. Patrick Mahomes, I feel like if he played Tom Brady last year, he would beat him. This is the thing with the Bills' confidence. I feel like their confidence is on a good level right now. Problem is, I do not think they can get over the Chiefs in the playoffs. A big problem for them in the past. And Josh Allen, he needs to prove to me that he will beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. And if he proves it to me next year, the year after that, I won't be saying this with Josh Allen. I won't be saying that he is a choker, stuff like that. I need to see him win big playoff games before Patrick Mahomes against good teams. He's beat bad teams in the past to get to Patrick Mahomes. He needs to beat a good team in the playoffs. I think he'll get the bye, so I hope he plays like a Ravens or like a good team. Chargers. If he beat the Chargers defense and then played Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship, I would never say Josh Allen's a choke artist again. He needs to prove it.
All right. Chinn?
Yeah, Buffalo might have beaten Kansas City, but the Chiefs are still the 1 seed if you check it. So nothing happened with the seeding yet. So Buffalo needs to get the number 1 seed. It's great. Yeah, I didn't want to see Kansas City go undefeated. I'm not a Kansas City guy myself. But if Buffalo has to go on the road in the playoffs to Kansas City and has to beat the Chiefs, I just don't see any way scenario they can go in there in one of the toughest places to play in the playoffs and beat the Chiefs again. So you definitely need to get the 1 seed if you're the Bills. So will it propel them? Possibly. But in order for this to even be a conversation, they need to get the 1 seed to where they can be home for the Chiefs. Now, granted, last year didn't the Chiefs? I'm pretty sure the Chiefs did go into Buffalo and beat them in the playoffs.
Chiefs went into Buffalo and beat them.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes beat Josh Allen twice away and once at home, so he's 3-0 in the playoffs against Josh Allen.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, you still feel better about it if you're a Buffalo fan if you have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So yeah, I think that all this will be for naught if the Buffalo Bills can't get the 1 seed and have home field advantage.
Alrighty. Well, let's do a little bit of outlook here for Week 12. What is the matchup you all are most excited to see this week? Chinn, if you'd like to start us off.
Well, there's really kind of like only maybe 1 or 2 matchups that really anybody's even talking about this week, so not really sure. But the one matchup I'm looking forward to would be the Ravens and Chargers on Monday Night Football. You got a great Ravens offense, an explosive offense against a really good Chargers defense. So, and Justin Herbert's been playing lights out too. I'm curious to see if the Chargers are going to be able to run the ball against the Ravens defense, but only time will tell. But that's the Lions and Colts. I do think that one there could be interesting too, because the Lions are on the road and the Colts are kind of a dangerous team. We saw the Colts beat the Steelers earlier in the year. So I wouldn't be surprised if like the Colts could find a way to upset the Lions. But other than those two matchups, I really don't see any great marquee matchups this week.
Replays?
I might have to say the Packers versus the Rams at 425. I think could be a very good game. Both offense have been balling. Christian McCaffrey coming back is literally the light of the path for the 49ers. Their offense looking really good now. And Juwan Jennings, he's been balling literally last week. Chinn started him on fantasy, and he helped him out a lot. And I think Packers offense is also balling with Jaden Reed.
Still didn't help me
And
win.
yeah, Jaden Reed looking real good. Tucker Kraft playing pretty good. Jordan Love especially playing pretty good. And Josh Jacobs playing great last week. Past couple of weeks he's been playing good. So I think this is going to be a good offensive matchup. I would really like to see, especially Debo versus Jair Alexander, and who can win that matchup. I think that could be very entertaining.
All right. Chin? Anything to follow up there?
Nothing.
All right, let's move into our starter sets, guys. Let's start off with somebody you just mentioned, Debo Samuel. Replays, you want to take it away?
So I'm going to say sit. Like I said, I really want to see this matchup versus him versus Jair Alexander. But I think Jair Alexander is better than Witherspoon. And Witherspoon on the Seattle Seahawks kept Debo Samuel to 6 PPR points last week. So coming off a really bad week against a really good cornerback, and now you're going to a better cornerback, I don't think this Debo is a good start this week.
All right, Chin.
Is Alexander even going to be guarding Debo, though? Because you really think about it, over the course of the last several weeks, like, Juwan Jennings has kind of been the number one for the 49ers. Like, because Debo gets involved in other ways. So it wouldn't shock me if Alexander was actually on Juwan Jennings and not Debo. But you never know. I mean, like, obviously, Debo is the number one receiver, and Jair is the number one corner. But more often than not, like, sometimes coaches and defensive coordinators like to move cornerbacks around. So it wouldn't shock me if Jair's on Juwan Jennings and not Debo. But regardless, I still think it's a start. I mean, it's like, what is the average spot that Debo was picked in? What, probably like third, fourth round for most people? Probably about average.
I think his ADP was like 4th round.
So it's like, how good can you be at receiver, especially in a PPR league, if you're setting him? Like, you must be pretty loaded on receiver if you're telling me you have 3 receivers in a super flex, 4 receivers that you have that you feel more comfortable with than putting Debo in. So yeah, I think it's a start. Like, he's had some great games. He has been a little questionable his past few games, but at the same time, unless you're completely loaded on receiver, then or you're just not in a PPR league, I think that's the only way you're benching Debo then.
All righty. Let's move it on to Jamison Williams. Replays, you want to start us?
Yeah, I'll start. I think he is a start this week. Colts defense, I mean, all right, all right. He is a deep threat weapon, and I don't think the Colts will be able to stop this deep threat weapon. So I think all he needs is one big play, and his start will be a value to your team. So I'd say he is a wide receiver 2, low end flex, high end flex, and I think that he'll get about like 17 and a half.
All righty, Chin.
I would say. Reason being is, yeah, he's explosive when he shows up, but some of this really isn't even his fault, but he's way too inconsistent. And then 2, there's just so many weapons on the Lions. They can just hurt you through so many ways. And the Lions love to run the ball. And if they get success in Indianapolis this week running the ball, I'd look to see them to abuse Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. And that just leaves Jamison Williams on the outside looking in.
I could see that. All right, let's talk about a quarterback for, I think, the first time on our starter sets. We have Jaden Daniels here.
You mean you don't want to ask about Garrett Wilson?
Yeah, you're gonna skip Garrett Wilson?
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Can't believe you're skipping Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, man. I
I
can't believe you're
skipped him
skipping.
because he was taken off the list.
Taken
Jaden
off the
Daniels.
list. Taken off the list.
Jaden Daniels, replays. Would you like to start or keep running your lips?
I'll keep running my list. I'll start. Jaden Daniels is definitely a start this week. He has 2 bad weeks, but he's playing the Cowboys, so I don't think this is a problem for Jaden Daniels. He has had 8.5 2 weeks ago and 13.5 last week. 2 really good defenses though. Last week I think he had 8 before his 42nd poverty touchdown and 2-point conversion. So I would say that past 2 weeks have been bad against good defenses, but this is the Cowboys. I mean, you can't debate that he's going to be good this week against quarterbacks and wide receivers. I think they're the 28th ranked defense for fantasy against quarterbacks. So I think Jaden Daniels will explode this week. He's projected 22.5. So I think this is definitely a start this week.
All right, Chinn?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Jaden Daniels is QB number 6 in the league. So, as far as fantasy numbers go, I mean, he didn't even really. He only had 1 bad week, and that was the week he got 8. Last week, he still got almost 14. You can't even really say it's a bad week. Yeah, I still think start. Dallas D is terrible. Start him. And for the record, for anybody wanting some context in that, Andy put Garrett Wilson in there. I saw it too. I was just gonna let it happen because he doesn't check his work and he needed punished. But for anybody that needs context, Garrett Wilson's on bye this week. So if you have him in your lineup, make sure you bench him.
Start him. He's going for 100. Moving on now.
Yeah, start him this week. I dare you.
Yeah, start him. Give him 100. I'm starting Devontae anyway. It doesn't matter. I don't need Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, you should.
You should, yeah.
All right. For the third time, we're going to move into Chinn's top 5 power ranking. So I'm going to give it to Chinn and let him take it away. No more talk about Garrett Wilson.
All right, number 5, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Usually I don't put a team that lost on the league, but it is the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes hasn't played the greatest this season, but it's like Replay said earlier, he is a playoff quarterback, and he's still on the Chiefs. It's still the Chiefs. They're still going to win games. They're still going to be in Super Bowl contention and all this other stuff. So for now, I'll leave them on the list. They could fall off if they lose again. So it was tough for me to keep them on the list though over a couple other teams. But yeah, for now, Chiefs at 5. Eagles at 4. They've won their last 6 straight. Jalen Hurts looks like he's in midseason form. Saquon's having a heck of a year. So we're going to give the Eagles number 4. Pittsburgh Steelers at number 3. Winners of 6 straight. Took them 5 straight. Took them 6 field goals to bury the Ravens. But that being said, when you play defense and you only allow the Ravens 10 points, you're probably going to win a lot of games. So good game from the Steelers. I'm looking forward to this matchup again in a couple weeks in Baltimore. So that's actually going to be really interesting to see them battle it out in Baltimore. Number 2 is going to go to the Buffalo Bills. To be the best, you have to beat the best. Well, they did, but they're still not the best. But anyways, the Bills have won 8 straight games. They're looking really good. So hats off to them with that big win against the Chiefs. Number 1, Detroit Lions. Also winners of 8 straight. Most recently, a beatdown against the Jags, where I thought Doug Peterson was going to lose his job, but they haven't moved off of him yet, so that one's interesting. But more about the Lions is they're just explosive. They have so many weapons on offense. I am a little concerned because Zadarius Smith, the defensive end that they just traded for, came up injured in that game. So I am interested in what is going to happen with him and what his future looks like. But only time will tell. They have a big game in Indy this week against the Colts. Go Colts. I do like the Lions though. So, but that's your top 5 right now.
All right. Replays, what do you think of the list?
I hate to say it. 2 weeks in a row. Great list. Unfortunately, again this week, I do have two teams switched. I can't give you the A+ list, but I will give you an A. My list had the Eagles and Steelers switched at 3 and 4, which could be biased, could be not. We'll never know.
Definitely
We probably
biased.
will know. We probably will know.
Definitely biased.
So I will be giving you an A on your list. Very good job again this week. I hate saying that, but very good job
Who's
again.
putting the Eagles over the Steelers right now? Like, most people has the Steelers over the Bills.
I am.
Oh, okay.
Steelers can't score a touchdown. I mean, just saying, they can't score a touchdown.
But they're taking care of the ball, and they're getting points, and they're getting wins.
Eagles are getting more points and taking care of the ball better.
Yeah, take Philly into Pittsburgh right now and tell me who's winning that game.
I'll tell you who. Eagles.
Do the Steelers and Eagles play
the Commanders we beat the Eagles by two scores.
Who do the Eagles?
We play Pittsburgh. We play Pittsburgh next week. We play the Rams. Yo, surprise! Hey, I'm gonna give a surprise topic. All right, here's a surprise topic. Yeah, surprise topic. Who wins? All right, are you ready?
You all play the Rams this week, then y'all play the Ravens in Baltimore. You're all gonna lose to the. So here's what your all's outlook's gonna look like. You're all losing this week to the Rams. You're all losing next week to the Ravens. You're all gonna beat the Panthers. Then you all got to play Steelers at home. You're all going to lose that game also.
Easy win.
Then you're all going to go to Washington and lose to the Commanders. Then you're going to win your last two. Then you're going to win your all's last two against the Cowboys and the Giants.
Yeah, but I'm going to give
you're
a
all
surprise
drop. You're all going to drop 3 of your next 4.
Okay, but I want to give.
You're going to drop 3 of your next 4.
Wait.
You're going to drop 3 of your next 4.
I want to give a surprise.
Chat, let's hear your all's comments about the Eagles, all right?
Oh, my God. Let me get my topic, bro.
All right. Thank y'all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see y'all next week.